Okay, this is my first video and we will be solving February-March 2019 Chemistry Extended Syllabus. The variant is 42. So our first question is, which element is a gas at room temperature and pressure? So it will be an argon, and you can also write chlorine as it is also a gas at room temperature. So which element forms a basic oxide with the formula of the form X2O? Okay, in this I would like to comment on, like, if it is written in this way, so 2 is actually the sign of O, so we can write O negative 2. So we will look upon the group 1 element that is bonding with oxygen. So any of the element you can write from the group 1. I will choose the sodium. So which element is made of atoms which have full outer shell of electron? It's certainly an argon, because it's one of the group 8 elements, and group 8 elements are inert, and the purpose of being inert is that they have full outer shell of electrons. So Party states that forms an oxide which causes acid rain. So there are two kinds of element that forms an oxide and it causes certainly an acid rain. First of all, it's nitrogen, and the second one is sulfur. So let's see what is written in there. It's written sulfur. So yeah. Okay, state which element is extracted from bauxite. Okay, bauxite. It's actually bauxite is in ore, and we get aluminum from the bauxite. So there should be an aluminum, yeah. So aluminum ore is called bauxite. So part F states that it forms an oxide which is a macromolecular structure. Well, macromolecular structure are 3 types in which we have to go through. We will go through on the next and subsequent classes. First of all, I like to state 3 kind of macromolecular structure. First of all, it's called diamond, and second, diamond which is made of carbon, and secondly there's a silicon oxide. So, and thirdly there is graphite, which is also made of carbon. So let's see what is written here. So it's written silicon, we can write silicon here. So which element consists of diatomic molecules? So we will look at, and yeah, Cl2. We always write Cl2. Why? Because it is a diatomic molecule. So we will write chlorine. And we can write any element once more than once or not at all, because it's already written there. So you have to see and apply those things when you are writing. So we will move on to question number 2. The table gives information about some atoms and ions A, B and C. Complete the table. Well, we will look on to the periodic table for this structure. If you look onto the periodic table, you will come to know that the electrons are 18, and if there are 18, there should be also the protons, which are also 18, and the electronic structure would be 2, 8, 8, and 8, and certainly it will be a charge of 0, because it is having no charge. And if you will if you look on to question number A, part A, the charge will be positive 1. Why? Because electrons are 1 less than the proton. So we will write positive 1, because 1 is bigger. 11 is bigger than 10. So how much it is bigger? It's bigger than 1. So we will write positive 1. And for the C part, we will look, and we'll see that it's minus 1. Minus 1 means that they are talking about a certain kind of element which has again a charge of minus 1. So it will be having 1 electron more than the proton number. So the answer will be 9. So these are kind of definitions. Define the term element. So you can define as smallest substance that cannot be split into well, this is a kind of typical definition of the term element. So it's kind of an easy question, and we have to complete the table. So number of proton, they are actually the isotopes of the carbon. They all are isotopes. Isotopes mean same number of proton but different number of neutron. So proton number will be 6, 6 and 6, and we will calculate the number of neutrons. How? For this one we will subtract 12 minus 6, it will be 6, and we will add 6 for this. 13 minus 6, it will be certainly be 7, and for this it will be 8. So moving on, question number 3. Fluorine is a group 7 element. Fluorine forms compounds with metals and non-metals. Predict the physical state of fluorine at room temperature and pressure. So as it is in group 7 element, and it forms compound with metals and non-metals, it's certainly a kind of property which is a gas. So it certainly will be a gas. So we have to complete the diatomic molecular structure of the fluorine, and as we know that it is a diatomic molecule, so and F-1 is a kind of ion which is present on fluorine. So ion is created by the charge of electron, by the electron they gain. So there will be X and O, and we will complete the rest of the electrons. Remember, if you choose O for the left ones, like the left fluorine atom, so you have to draw O on others too, and X for the right one. Remember to complete the 8 outer shell electrons to complete the octet rule. So what is that octet rule? I will be explaining in my subsequent classes. So this is written, write a chemical equation for the reaction between sodium and fluorine. So Na is +1 and Na is F2. Okay, F2 is always F2 because it's a kind of diatomic molecule, so it will be F2. So it will be forming NaF. So for balancing, remember to balance at the end. And there are many kinds of students who usually forgets to balance the equation after they have done all long equation, after they are writing all long equations. So just remember to balance the equation after writing the equation. So if you balance, there are 2F, so you'll add 2 and okay, it's balanced. You can check. Explain why chlorine does not react with aqueous sodium fluoride. Well, there is a chapter called Reactivity Series where we have to learn that the more reactive metal would react with the metal, like the more reactive metal will displace, and the less reactive one will be at its place and will not move and will not displace. So we will simply say that fluorine actually is more reactive than chlorine. That's the kind of reason you can state that fluorine is more reactive than chlorine. So that's why fluorine reacts with sodium, and it will not let chlorine dissociate and bond with sodium because of its more reactiveness. So this part E, tetrafluoromethane and lead-2 fluoride and are fluorides of group 4 elements. Some properties of tetrafluoromethane and lead-2 fluoride are shown in the table. Okay, so part 1, what is the formula of lead-2 fluoride? Okay, so PbF2, it will be formula of this one. Sorry, this one. Yes, this will be formula. Remember, when it is written the lead, and this is a kind of notation that it is a hint that they are giving you a hint to create a certain kind of formula. So lead is Pb and fluorine is F. So Pb +2 and F -1. So if you will crisscross the minus 1 will come here and 2 will come there, so it will turn out into PbF2. And part 2 states that what type of bonding is present between the atoms in tetrafluoromethane. So actually this is a kind of covalent bonding that is present inside tetrafluoromethane. Part 3 says that what type of structure does solid lead 2 fluoride have. Actually this is a kind of ionic bonding, so if they ask for a structure, just remember that lead or any ionic bond combines and gets bigger, and that kind of bigger part or bigger shape is called a giant lattice structure. So we will write giant, and as it is ionic, so we will write giant ionic lattice structure. We can write lattice or we can write a structure, it's the same thing. So explain in terms of forces between particles why lead 2 fluoride has a much of higher melting point than fluoromethane. Explain in terms of relative forces between particles. Okay, while lead fluoride, as we know that lead fluoride is an ionic bonding, as an ionic compound, and fluoromethane is a covalent compound. So covalent compound usually have lower boiling points than ionic compounds. So in terms of attractive forces between particles, we have to explain this statement as they have said already. So in your answer, refer to the types of attractive forces between particles and the relative strengths. So we will state that PbF2 is a ionic compound. The attractive forces between, as we know that between the that in the ionic compound there is a bonding between positive and negative ions, so we have to state that too, that attractive forces between the positive and negative ions is more. Okay. Secondly, we have to state about the tetrafluoromethane. Okay, tetrafluoromethane is a covalent compound. Remember, we have to state that how the tetrafluoromethane has low melting point. So the reason behind this is the forces that is a kind of forces between the particle that is attaching them, and how strong are the forces of the tetrafluoromethane. So we have to state that too. So we will write tetrafluoromethane as a covalent compound. Remember, we should also say that it's a kind of molecule, and the particles between molecules has low attractive forces between them. So that's why you will say hence higher, or you can say more heat energy is required to break the bonds of ionic compound. So this would be our answer. So moving on, what is meant by the term unsaturated? Well, the term unsaturated actually means the term unsaturated actually means that the compound you are talking about has the carbon-carbon double bond in it. So simply we would write that it means compound have carbon-carbon double bond in it. So it's just a simple answer. And usually they ask only for the unsaturation test. So you have to remember that the test for unsaturation is the bromine water test or bromine vapor test. You can also say the vapor, and I'm writing water, bromine water test. And the observation would be that bromine water, which is actually the orange solution, orange or red solution, will turn into, actually decolorized. So we can write decolorized or turns colorless. Okay, part 3 says that draw the structure of molecule of tetrafluoromethane, show all the atoms and all of the bonds. So tetrafluoromethane, they have written already that tetrafluoromethane is this bond. So as we know that there are 2 carbon atoms and 4 fluorine atoms are present in tetrafluoromethane. So if you want to make a kind of double bond in it, so we will make like this, and we will complete the remaining carbon bonds. So, and then we will attach the fluorine atoms. So if you look overall, they are actually complete, C2 and F4. Okay, part 4 states that tetrafluoromethane can be polymerized to form polytetrafluoromethane. Okay, draw one repeat unit of polytetrafluoroethane, show all of the atoms and all of the bonds. So if they have written that all of the bonds you have to show, so you cannot write like this one, and you have to show all the bonds and all of the atoms that you are drawing. So actually the repeat unit is the unit which is again and again repeating to make a polymer. So and in this question the polymer is polytetrafluoroethane. So we will just draw again this one, and we will open the double bond as it is written poly. So poly means we will join other tetrafluoromethane and to make a polymer, and to join other tetrafluoromethane molecule, the carbon double bond will be opening. So we will draw again this one, and we will open. And remember, at the last I would say that don't forget to write and draw the continuation bond. This is very important, and examiner would see this, and you have to write n is the number of atoms. So reduce the empirical formula tetrafluoromethane. So tetrafluoromethane has this one, and we cannot simplify further, so we will write same, and polytetrafluoroethane will be having same formula. Okay guys, this was it, and I hope you like it, and it gains you some knowledge and help. It will give you assistance, and it will assist you and guide you in your further examinations. So best of luck for the further exams, and stay tuned, subscribe and comment if you have any suggestions, and I will be making few more of the videos, for instance like chemistry, maths and biology ones. So bye.